I'm thinking like a 5-minute presentation and an hour of Q&A. Huh? Perfect, right? Mic is on. Okay. I don't know. Is my mic on? Is it? I could just leave that here. I suppose I better do this.
Well, good evening, everyone. Hey, you can hear me. My name is Dave Sabathy, and I'm the president and CEO of the Western DuPage Chamber of Commerce. I'm sorry? It's not on?
You got it real close, Dave.
Got to be real close.
There we go.
Okay. I'm Dave with the Western DuPage Chamber of Commerce. I'm the president and CEO, and it's our honor to be here this evening to make the introduction here before the State of the City address. I want to do a little bit of housekeeping, because I don't want to be embarrassed, because it's happened before and people will really point and, shut your phones off, right? Put it on silent so we don't interrupt anything. And, one of the things that thrills me about this opportunity is this is about as close as you ever get to government. This is your elected officials reporting to you on how your community is doing. And I think that's a great thing. And I think it's a right of every American. And in that note, would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much, and thank you all who have served. So the Western DuPage Chamber of Commerce serves Warrenville. The history of the Warrenville Chamber of Commerce goes back all the way to 1962. I know I have the certificate, and I think Vivian Lund's business was one of those members. But I will say, one of the other reasons I really enjoy being here is because the chamber isn't generally visible to the public, right? We help our businesses. We work with them on compliance. We work with them on training and best practices. We, of course, support our communities. We love being involved in Warrenville Summer Days and Holly Days and National Night Out and working with the Park District and the library and, of course, with the city. But most of the public never sees us. And when we are in public, we're not waving our banner. We're talking about the community that you are in there, Warrenville in bloom. We appreciate them as well. And so one of the other things that we do to create visibility is we host international tours. And so we've been to China, we've been to Europe, and we've been that. And so we have a trip coming to Tuscany. And we've had a number of Warrenville residents join us, and it's really been our pleasure. And I actually get a vacation, so I'm thrilled about that too. There has been so much exciting activity in Warrenville. If you were here last year, so much of it was about here's what's planned. We're going to hear tonight about all the things that have been accomplished. And of course, some new initiatives that are coming as well. So I'm going to sit down and I'm going to listen to the man of the hour, my friend, our mayor, Mayor David Brummel.
Thank you, Dave. All right, very good. Well, good evening. It's good to be here. Welcome. I was reflecting earlier that this is number 19 for me, which is hard to believe. There's someone else here who's been here for all of those 19, plus another 20. That would be Vivian Lund, who's in the front row, our former mayor. I would call that commitment. I don't think you missed any of your own, right? You're always there for them, and you've always been there for me. So that's 39 years of following what's going on in Warrenville. So thank you for all that you've done and for still paying attention and keeping us on our toes.
I'm keeping my eye on you.
Yeah, I know you are. Although when I was elected and she retired, she used to come by my office and look in and she'd say, "I'm so glad you're here." So welcome, Vivian. I'm glad you're here. Some thank yous are in order. First of all, thank you for your attendance. If you're watching this on a video later, thank you for taking the time to do that. I think it's really, really important to recognize that all of the good things that we're going to talk about, all the good things that are happening in process, the possibilities are all due to teamwork. I'm the reporter. I get to go up here and tell you of all the good stuff going on, but it doesn't happen because of what I do. It happens because we have the most phenomenal staff that you could ever want. I can't think of any time in the last 18 years, and actually 6 years before that when I was an alderman, where I didn't want to come to City Hall because the people here are people you want to work with. They're dedicated to an ideal. This is not just a job for them, it's a vocation. Solid professionals and good people. So my thank you first and foremost tonight is our terrific staff, if you would join me. And then to go back a little bit, I was putting on my tie for tonight. This is the first time I've had a tie on maybe since last year, I think. I like the fact that styles have changed. But when I was putting it on, I was thinking, again, of people that came before. When I was on the city council and Christmas was approaching and my seatmate next to me was Dave Schultz, and I came to the last meeting before Christmas and he looked at me and he says, "Where's your Christmas tie?" And I said, "I don't have a Christmas tie." Next meeting I had a Christmas tie and I had one to wear for every year after that. So that's a good reminder that, again, all the good things that you're seeing, everything that's happening that you approve of, all is because of work, because people before us cared to make that work happen. A lot of sacrifices were made. A lot of people spent an enormous amount of time, spent a lot of talent and effort to put us in the position we're in. So along with the staff that we have now, we have to thank the people that came before us also made all of this possible. So I wanted to thank them also. And there's somewhere in here, there she is. I have to thank, of course, my personal thanks for my lovely wife and partner, Mary. I literally would not be here except for her because she saved my life a couple of times because, you know, guys don't like to go to the doctor and all that good stuff. Well, you're going now. And that's worked out pretty well for me for 55 years, so thank you. Okay. We have a lot to do, a lot to talk about. It always amazes me, and people probably aren't aware of this, of any profession or anything that's going on at any institution. You see the tip of the iceberg, and there's just so much that goes on behind the scenes. And so we're going to take a look at a little of that tonight, but a high-level look because there's so much. I don't want to get too far into the weeds. So the theme tonight is to not do that, okay? One of the important things I think that the city has recognized all along is planning ahead, looking ahead. And I can remember the first time when we built this city hall and I was sitting over here as an alderman and I set up there the first time and the discussion started out as, well, we got to start looking 5 years ahead. And I was pretty green and I had no idea what was going on. I said, I can't even think about what's going on next week. And we got to talk about 5 years, 10 years down the road. But of course, that's, if you want to be successful at anything that you do, you have to plan ahead. You may know that I have my own wood shop. It's important for me to plan ahead there so I don't end up with my projects looking like the one on the left. A lot of the projects we do, a lot of the projects that I've been involved with personally, involve figuring out where you want to be and then backing off from that 37 steps to where you start and then working your way back to make sure that by the time you get back, you're going to be where you want to be. That's one of the reasons that government works so slowly and one of the reasons that if you order custom cabinet work, it takes a long time. There's a lot of planning involved because you don't want to get to step number 36 and find out. And yeah, by the way, twice in my lifetime, I built a set of cabinets that didn't fit where they were supposed to go. So I learned my lesson early. I did fix it. So the theme tonight is to think about what's coming down the road and making sure we are where we want to be and we take the steps to do that. So keep that in mind as we talk about the things in progress. Some of the things you're going to hear about a couple of times because they started out in 2023 and they're continuing into 2024. That means, again, that it takes a while to accomplish the things that we wish to accomplish. It's kind of the way government works. It's kind of the way success works. What we have are some examples here of success from planning ahead. The trailhead on the top left, of course, took 7 or 8 years of planning and working with Commonwealth Edison, finding the grant funding to make that happen. If you've been out there recently, you could see how successful that was. very well planned. The development in the center is Stafford Place next door between the library and City Hall. It took us 10 years to clean that property up from the industrial pollution involved. It took us another couple years to find a builder that we could trust to do a good job. If you drive through there, you'll see it's a beautiful, beautiful little sub-community. We've got Lexington Homes over there on the bottom left. They came to Warrenville a few years back and wanted to build 106 units, some high-end townhomes. They liked Warrenville so much, they built 48 more, and now they're committed to build 36 more, taking some vacant property that's not really been utilized and turning it into homes for new people in our community. The gas station in the center, that thing is long gone, thank goodness. We're still working on that. You'll hear a little bit more about that tonight. We're getting closer and closer to getting that to where it becomes a point of pride for us instead of something that needs to be done. Signage around town, you've noticed recently we've got some nice new signage in the last few years that we've always wanted, permanent looking stuff that lets people know when they drive through, they're coming through a community. And then finally, that's Riverview West over in Cantera, 60 townhomes that are going to be rented out. A beautiful, beautiful development next to another development. To add to our housing diversity, very important for the sustainability of a community that you have a lot of different types of housing and different levels of income. Not everybody wants a big yard. Not everybody wants any responsibilities outside of washing their dishes. These opportunities, a lot of these things are for people to come and stay and enjoy their lifestyle without being having to cut the grass and wash the windows and that sort of thing. So those are some successful developments. They are all part of our strategic plan goals. This is I guess, our Bible, if you want to call it that. The one we're working under currently was passed in May of 2005. It's getting a little long in the tooth, so we're in the process of doing that again. It's something that has to be renewed for every successful operation. The last couple of years and this year also, we're going to take the major tenets of the strategic plan and we're going to go through those for 2023 and then go through them for 2024 to show you how what we do conforms with what has been voted on and approved by the elected officials. So you know that we have a goal, we have things that we are trying to accomplish, and here are the things we're going to talk about tonight, how they fit in with all of those goals that have been, again, voted on by the council. Economic development is always something that I guess I hear the most from people. It's a two-edged sword, obviously, because if you have more businesses, you have more traffic, you have more needs for services, you have disruption of, perhaps disruption of residential areas. It's always a trade-off, but it's vital for the sustainability of the community. Without good economic development, you wither away and die. So it's always been number one of our economic goals, and we work very, very diligently to make sure that all the efforts that we can make are made to continue along those lines. Here are some things that were completed. Again, Lexington Townhomes. We have a couple of new restaurants in Cantera. It's interesting, of course, I would not want to be a restaurateur because, or I don't know how that's pronounced, but it's something where sometimes it seems like people go to the new one and for a couple of years and then they look for the next new one and on and on. We've lost some in there, but we continue to get new people coming, so that shows the vitality of Cantera. The theater is under new management. They're investing, finally, what we've been after them to do for years to improve that situation so they can partner with Main Event. And we have some other possibilities. I was hoping to say something tonight, but I better not. We have potentially another partner coming to Cantera that will be huge, so next year maybe. Maybe before then, I don't know, we'll see. I'm pretty certain they're going to come, but I can't say definitively. The Riverview West townhomes I just mentioned, they started out as being townhomes that were going to be owner-occupied. The market keeps changing, so now they're going to be rentals. And I mentioned Lexington Trace 3. We're getting a brew house facility, but it is not a competitor for Two Brothers. They're a production facility. They're going to brew beer here and then truck it out to other places. So Two Brothers is safe, not to worry, they'll be all right. These are projects that are approved for construction that have yet to begin. There's On Route 59 at Ferry Road, a shopping center that has probably needed a little bit of work for a number of years. We've been approached several times with plans to redo that. We think we have ownership now that is committed to redoing that entire shopping center. I believe there are seven retail spaces there. Contiguous to that is the the potential NewMed commercial redevelopment, which is the cannabis operation. They bought that old LaSalle Bank building. They've been sitting on it for some time, trying to get their licensing in order. They have architects looking at the plans now, and it looks like that's finally going to happen. Northwestern Medicine continues to be a great presence in our town with a huge addition to their already huge project, a $50 million project, a parking garage, and expanding their oncology unit. All of their oncology people come to Warrensville for treatment. While they're here, they not only get treatment, but they stay overnight. They go to our hotels and our restaurants and so on. So it's a very good partner in our community. Everton Commercial, we're going to get our third Starbucks. Come on. Wrong generation? What? I'm happy about it. And a Popeyes, which, okay, up on 59, and there's one more lot available up there by Everton also. So that's kind of nice. So they are definitely coming at some point soon. The old Citgo station, we have made tremendous progress in cleaning up the contamination. There's still a little bit more to do. We had success working with the Votel family in solving some issues with the property lines, with getting some screening between our new potential development and their existing development, getting some fencing, and we cleaned up a lot of issues with the family, so that's really great progress to report. We're in a better position now to look forward to that development. We'll talk a little bit about it in the future here. We're also looking very carefully at some of the areas in town, two of the areas specifically, that have kind of languished, and we're looking at ways to give them an opportunity to flourish. And part of that would be doing this overlay district to encourage other kinds of residential building besides single family and multifamily high density. Duplexes perhaps, some other opportunities that might fit. And then we're trying to make it easier for those things to work by telling them exactly through this operation, here's what we want to see in these places based on, we've already had 2 public forums to get input from the public of what they would like to see. We give that information out, here's what we're looking for. They come and they don't come unless they know that this is something they're interested in doing, and we have a much better chance of getting exactly what the community wants to see there. So that's pretty exciting to work on that and to work on the possibility of, again, diversifying housing a little bit more and providing some revitalization from areas that are residential. They want to stay residential, but maybe they need a little sprucing up, a little changing to make things a little easier for them. We continue to get good press. I'm happy to report in my actions and my interactions with other mayors in the community, which are quite frequent, our reputation as a community has gone up and up and up because of the things that we're doing, the things that we do successfully, because of our staff, all of the elected officials on the same page. We don't have these fights on TV. We do the job. We come here and we get things done. We have a reputation as a well-run, stable community and a safe community. And I think that's because of you, it's because of our staff, and all of us working together to make sure that that's what we want to see and make sure it happens. So that was nice. Nice quote from the mayor, too, there. We continue to try to encourage people to go solar. We're part of an organization called SolSmart. We are a gold member of that organization, which means we have gone to the maximum effort to make getting permits for solar installations the easiest way possible. So we not only encourage people to do that, we have taken steps to make sure that when they come in to do it, they can get through the process easily and quickly and make sure that it's done properly. As you can see, there's a lot of activity on the solar edge of things. It's only going to continue. Building permits, single-family homes, the community is doing well. We're a small community. We don't have a lot of space. We're doing a lot of redevelopment, maybe a few teardowns here and there, but it's all in the direction of more vitality for the community, so that's a good thing. Fiscal conservatism. We will continue to do that. It is a linchpin of how we do our job. One part of that is there are rules and regulations and requirements to do your reporting, their financial reporting. 30 years in a row, we've gotten the top award for doing exactly the way it's supposed to be done. Everything is transparent. Everything is according to Hoyle. Our staff works very diligently to make sure that happens. So you may not be happy about some of the ways the money is spent, but it's spent in a way that's in concordance with the rules for that spending. And it's protected. There are redundancies that keep make sure that we don't have any fraud. We're still recovering from COVID like everybody else. The trend is up, but it's a slow trend. It's a slow climb out of that trough. It'll be a while. We're going to talk a little bit about the census that we're doing, the special census. And here, it's important, and I'm going to repeat this a couple of times, because we have a census done by the federal government every 10 years, right? We had one in 2020. We're going to have one in 2030. Well, in the interim, our population has grown significantly. We get a certain amount of income from the state and federal government based on our population. So if we wait until the next census, we're going to lose a lot of money that we could have captured by getting that population counted. So that's what we're in the process of. It comes to about $258 a person per year that we get in outside aid. Okay, so it's really, really important that we get everyone counted, because that's $250 a year going forward. All right, and so there's a kind of a blank that we're filling. The time from now until the next census, our special census is going to tell us how many people we gained. Now we can apply and get that money. I'll give you the cost for that in a little bit. You're going to be flabbergasted at how much money is involved there at $258 a person. Yes, there's my first all caps. We've had all of these increases in our population. Our special census, because of government regulations, government always getting in the way of things, we couldn't just do it for the areas that have expanded. We had to do it for the whole community, so that made it a little more expensive. So the total cost to us is a little bit shy of $500,000. Conservatively, over the next 5 years, or up to the next census, we're going to gain $2.4 million at $258 each. I consider that a pretty good investment. So that's coming up. We're working on it currently. We're looking for volunteers. If you want some part-time work, it pays very well. You can choose your hours. We need to count every single person in town, because that makes a huge difference for, well, everything. Keeps property taxes down and gives us more money to work with to provide the services we have to. So exciting stuff to see that opportunity and to see the staff help us make it happen, and the elected officials recognize the fact that that's an important thing to do, and we're doing it. Financial planning long range. Well, I need to put a footnote in here, because every year I say the same thing. We have no debt against the general fund. And that has been the case as long as I've been mayor, as long as Vivian was mayor. We're going to continue that way. We did take a general obligation bond to build the new water tower over on the west side of town. Now, the reason that doesn't mean that we're in debt is because it's called a general obligation bond, but that will never appear on your tax bill. It's been abated from your tax bill. There's a dedicated revenue stream that's going to pay that money back. It's not going to come from your tax money. It's from TIF money. We won't get into TIFs, so we'll be here till midnight. But TIFs work, and they're producing for us. We've made investments over the last decade or so in TIFs, and they have paid off handsomely for the community. So that the improvement of that TIF area is going to pay for that new water tower. Your taxes will not. So technically there's some debt there, but it's also earmarked for a certain revenue stream. It's not on the general fund. So we can still technically say we have no debt against the general fund. And that's the way we hope to continue. The property tax cap, when we went home rule in 2004, people were very concerned that, well, you have the opportunity to do a lot more taxing now, new taxes, increasing taxes. They were very afraid that we would keep raising property taxes every single year. The council at that time said, we want to reassure you that's not our intent. We will make a resolution that we will not exceed the property tax cap. That has been brought up every single year and has been passed every single year. So we have maintained that since 2004. We continue to do so. We'll keep that promise that we have home rule now. We have more powers, but we're going to use them responsibly. Your tax bill, keep in mind, about 9% goes to the city. Most of it goes to the school district. Even in some parts of the city, I think it's more like 7% of the tax bill goes to the city, even less. So when people talk about city taxes and they complain and they say, I wish they'd knock them down 10%, well, think what 10% would do. It would not be 10% of your whole bill. It would be 10% of 9%, which wouldn't be a whole lot. So just keep that in mind, that the balance is to other taxing districts and not so much the municipality. We are in very good shape with our police pension fund. A lot of communities are really, really in trouble. They're in single digits in funding their police pensions. This is a promise to pay your retired officers that they're going to get their pension. Very important to make sure that promise is upheld. We're at 75%. The current law is to have that at 90% by 2040. We make our payments every single year to make sure we keep up with that. And there are potential changes in Springfield on that might change that and make it a little easier for communities to fund, because obviously as you get closer to the 90%, the numbers get bigger and bigger. So we'll see how that goes, but we're in excellent position. And as I mentioned earlier, the property tax abatement was for that new water tower, and you won't see that on your tax bills. Another thing that's really important is that we are a suburban community in the middle of a lot of other suburban communities. People move from community to community. They have certain expectations when they move. One of the things that they expect, I think, is equity, especially in fees. So periodically we have to take a look at our fee structure and make sure we're in line with our neighbors. We don't want to be too high. We don't want to be too low. We want to be fair with what everyone else is doing. So we're taking a comprehensive look at all of our fees to make sure that they're fair, equitable, and they are in alignment with other communities. Keep in mind that the fees that are charged for almost everything that you do with the city are fees to pay for that service. They're not places where we try to make money. They're not profit centers. Okay, so we don't raise fees so we get a profit out of that and we can use it somewhere else. We raise fees to cover the cost of the service that's being provided. One of the good things about those fees is when we get developers, they kick in a lot to make sure that the impact they're having on the community is going to help to be paid for by them because they're creating the impact. So there are a lot of good things to having that done over and over again. It's another example, I think, of how I'm appreciative of staff, because staff looks at the work on these things daily, and they go, you know what, this isn't as good as it could be. So they come to the elected officials and they say, we need to study this, we need to change it, and it happens. So there's not that status quo, that's the way we do it, it's fine. It's how can we do it better? And that's one of the opportunities that we're going to take care of coming up. I want to fall over when it does that. Consistently over the years, one of the things that people say they love most about Warrenville is our open space, our relationship with the Forest Preserve District, the Park District, the Conservation Foundation, and having plenty of availability of open space, very important to our citizens. We will continue to do that, supporting their efforts and our efforts. If you go right along the river now and remember what it looked like before the cleanup and the rehancing of the river, you couldn't see the river before. It was just a green wall of scrub. Now if you go down River Road, you can appreciate the river. You can see the trees, you can see the trails, you can see the river itself, the natural plantings. We try to make that an improvement, and that certainly worked. We're blessed to have a lot of talented people in town, a lot of talented artists. Jen Krussel is one of them. If you go outside City Hall, between the library and City Hall, you will see tributes. That is an iron sculpture welded together out of wrenches. So it's unique. It's only in Warrenville, it's nowhere else. We're trying to do that a lot around town, is find local artists and have them contribute to the beauty of the community. Jen was super excited about this, as are we. So stop out there and take a look at it. It is supposed to be lighted at some point. I don't know if they've got that worked out yet, but the base is going to be lit up. It's going to be very, very cool. So stop and take a look at that. We also are planting trees to replace the ones that have died or have had to be taken down because of disease. It's hard to keep up with that. It seems like there's more and more fatalities in the trees, but we're allocating every year a little bit more resources to make sure that we replace the ones that we lose. We never seem to get a big enough truck. People have a lot of stuff to get rid of. We're going to keep try to stay ahead of that. 611 pounds of medications that would have been sitting around maybe for teenagers to grab or whatever, or you to take by mistake. You can bring them to the police station during regular hours and get rid of them. We still have the battery recycling program and, of course, curbside recycling, which for us, our recycling bin is full a lot more than our garbage, which I think is maybe the way it should be. So we're doing our best there. The Prairie Path Trailhead, I talked about briefly earlier that it took a while to get that done. Grant funded, another thing that I would like to emphasize again and again and again, so many of the things that we do, we find outside resources for, so that you don't have to pay for those things as a taxpayer, at least for the whole thing. When you can do a project like that, a $1 million project, and get 2/3 of the money outside of the community, that's a huge plus for us. We're still working on the multi-use path along Route 59. It's a very complicated process. If you are involved in any of our projects, you know you have to deal with 7 different entities, and they all have to sign off, and they all have to be happy with what you want to do. They all have to give you permission, indemnity, all this good stuff. So getting that to happen along 59, where all of the lot lines and easements and everything are all confused over the years because they were done relatively haphazardly, has taken a little bit of work, but we're committed to having that because it's a really important place for people to be able to walk safely and get off of 59. The Mack Road multi-use trail path, we're still working on the engineering for that, working with the residents. There's a little bit of resistance to folks that would prefer not having the path on their side of the road. Understandable. It's our only option. We don't have another option. It's either going to be there or it's not going to be. So we're working with them and we're working with the engineers to make that happen. City infrastructure, we're always very careful that we take care of what you own. Keep that in mind, city infrastructure, your stuff. We don't like to see it degrade. We make sure that we maintain and we replace as we're able to. Notice the road program, every single year, it's between $1 and $2 million and sometimes more. Storm sewer improvements you don't see, but they have to be done. The same thing with sanitary sewer. The sanitary sewer, we have to do lining, we have to do inspections because all of our effluent goes to Naperville to be treated and we are charged by the gallon. So you want to make sure that you're not sending more there than you need to because you're going to have to pay for it. So all of these things, again, are not high profile things, but they're in the line of maintaining quality of service and maintaining the property, again, that you own as citizens. We talked about the sidewalk and the multi-use. Well, we talked about both those things, but the bottom line is the important thing. 2 separate grants that are going to cover most of the costs of that. One of the reasons that the Mack Road Bridge trail has to be on the north side is that the federal government says that's where it has to be. If we don't put it there, we lose $400,000 in funding. And that's a complicated subject. I won't subject you to that tonight, but a lot of discussion of that. Oh boy, here we go. I don't even think I want to talk about the ERP. Christina, you want to do it? No. All right, I guess you can go home because we both decided we don't want to talk about that. About 5 years ago, the recognition developed that as the community grew and matured, the systems that we had to provide the services and to do our work were aging out, couldn't communicate with each other, were just a mishmash of things that we put together in order to get the job done. That's what you do when you're a young community. You've got to get the job done. How do we do it? Let's do this. We'll hire these people. We'll get their software. Now we're going to get their software. Now we're going to get their software. Now we're going to get their software. We get the job done, but at some point you realize that's not good enough. And going forward, we can't do that anymore. So about 5 years ago, we hired a consultant to give us a big umbrella of saying, how can we get all of this stuff under one umbrella and have everybody communicate with each other, have us to be able to communicate with citizens and citizens communicate with us and do it efficiently and do it well, have inspections go better. I mean, there were so many things that this was going to do for us. Unfortunately, this was one of those consultants that gave a great presentation but couldn't perform. So we've been struggling with this all along. They overpromised what they could do. They were going to make a custom system for us that was going to be custom made just for us, which is particularly difficult. And then they continued to lose project managers, so that every time we made a little progress, the project manager was new and you'd have to educate them what was going on. Staff spent hours and hours trying to get this accomplished and with very little success. So it was very frustrating for us. So again, we got to a certain point where we said, this is not tolerable, that we can't accept this, we're going to have to do something else, and we hired new people. Now, the good thing about that is we hired very, very competent people. We hired 2 companies, one to actually do the software, and another one to be our advocate to make sure the person that's doing the software does it right. And we got nationally recognized, solid companies to do this for us. We're very excited at the prospects. A lot of staff time is going into this again, but the end result is going to be better communication, more efficiency. All the good things that you want to see us doing, we're going to be able to do better once we get this done. But it has been very, very frustrating over the years, given the amount of staff time that's involved in dealing with different people all the time. One of the cool things about, and I didn't think of this, I should have, I suppose, I build custom cabinetry. When you buy something off the shelf, it's a whole lot easier to replace, and if it goes bad, you just take one off the shelf and place it in. But if you have a totally custom system and something goes bad, then what do you do? And what they were building for us was a custom system. In retrospect, not such a good idea. So what we've got now is the best software out there that's already available that's going to be fit into our system to do what we need to do. So if something goes wrong, bing bong, call the guy, it comes out, you got a new one. So we're excited at this prospect. The tears and the hard work that went getting where we're at is going to pay off and eventually pay off for all of us, I think. So we're very excited at that prospect. Citywide pavement evaluation, one of the things I think our Public Works is particularly fond and proud of is that you drive through Warrenville, the roads are in good shape. They're always in good shape. It's hard to find a pothole in Warrenville. We want to continue that. We want to improve that. So we're going to figure out exactly what we've got out there, figure out what needs to be done and when, and make sure that we do exactly what's necessary to continue that quality. Public safety, maybe the top of most people's list when they try to find a community to locate in. I mentioned this last year. I think 3 years ago we were rated the safest community in the state. Which is pretty good, I guess. And we're consistently in the top 10 or 15% in the state of Illinois in terms of safety. There are 2 components to that. One is we have a top-notch police department. Chief Bonilla is with us tonight. He is the successor to Ray Toronto, who built us to a certain level, and Sam has taken us to the next level. That's one component, a great police department. The second component is the community. The literature tells us that the safest communities are the ones that have the best communication between the police department and the citizens. We have that, and we're working on it continuously by highlighting what the police department does, making people more familiar with being with the police department and with officers in informal ways. Our award-winning National Night Out, in the last 3 or 4 years, we've gotten a national award every single time. It's a great event. I highly recommend you come down. Drone, we have our own drone now that was by a grant. We didn't pay for it. It was paid for by a safety grant from our insurance people. It has been okayed now by the state to use at public gatherings for safety purposes to make sure that you can get a better look at what's going on. That's good to know. We are working on the completion of a non-emergency online report tool, Frontline it's called, where you can call in and report relatively minor things or get services or give information. Again, something that's very friendly for the public to be able to use. We're very interested in having that improved. Fireworks has gotten a lot better. I could rephrase that, I guess. We've had less fireworks since we began this education effort of people here, don't do it and here's why, and if you do it and we catch you, it's going to be expensive. I think our personal experience has been that every 4th of July it's been a lot less than it used to be. So all these good things going on in terms of public safety. And we have 4 new full-time officers. We have our first 2 lateral transfers. You may not be familiar with that. A lateral transfer is where an officer decides they're not particularly happy where they're at and they decide to go to another department. We've had 2 people, one from Bartlett and one from Chicago, who said, Warrenville looks a lot better to us, we're going to Warrenville. Seasoned officers with great records who now are on our payroll and helping us. We are fully staffed in the police department for some time. We struggled with that. We're back to full staffing again. We have a new emergency management coordinator, local guy. Rob is a great guy doing a super job. Volunteers that do super things for our community. We're always looking at trying to update the rules that we live by. The building code is a big one. The insurance service office, we want to get an improved ISO rating. That's another thing that keeps our insurance as a community low. All these things go on behind the scenes, but they go on. The people that come here work hard every day. Diversity is another thing. We're very proud of our culture in Warrenville. We're welcoming to whoever wants to live here. We think that's the way you should be. You shouldn't just talk about it. This commission, IDEC commission, is about 1.5 years old now, I think. These are some of the things that they've already started doing in order to bring people together, all different kinds of people, so that they can experience each other and recognize that we are more alike as human beings than we're different. And I think this is one of the, I guess, linchpins of the foundation of our culture in Warrenville, that we accept people for who they are and we respect folks. We had wanted for a long time to start that commission. We finally did it. I'm very proud of what they're doing. We had our first Citizens Police Academy again that we haven't had for a number of years. And then we have all these other things going on. So all in the interest of building the community and getting people to participate. And there's some of the stuff. Doesn't that just make you feel good looking at it? All right, that's somebody we know used to say that all the time. I had to put it in. Dwight Lund, he would always leave, and that would be his admonition to you after you have visited with him for a while. So we're looking at 2024 now, 2024, so we're going to keep looking up. Economic development, you're going to see some things that are in progress already. The shopping center, the new bed, the cancer center, and the Everton, we talked about that. We're saying it again because it began in 2023. It's continuing in 2024, so you know it's not done yet. Old Town, some really good progress there. The city is going to install sewer and water to that site, which is a good thing to have in terms of redevelopment. Hardscape improvements are going to be sidewalks and parking lots and some landscaping to clean it up and make it look nice. Along the lines of, if you go on the website, you can see the conceptual plan of what we would like to see there, the building placement and so on. Has some variability, but we're making it, preparing it for redevelopment, because obviously the goal would be when you come down the hill into Warrenville, you want to see something really nice, something that says, oh, this is Warrenville. I really like this place already. I think I'm going to live here. That does happen. One of the things that's kind of exciting too is this pop-up shop program, which Batavia and a lot of other communities have initiated. It's a way to get young or any kind of entrepreneurs who are starting out a small business to be able to have a place to sell their wares initially without having to invest a huge amount in renting a place, but to give them an idea whether they're going to succeed or not. And it also is a community gathering place. So we're pretty excited at that prospect. So we're working on that. And then the overlay district again, to try to get consensus on what we would like to see in 2 areas of town that are very important, and then move towards making that happen. So it's not a new set of rules, it's a form-based idea of community planning. Oh, we're back to the ERP again? I thought we were done with that. Anyway, you got the whole line on that. Bad stuff, now good stuff. That's all you got to remember, okay? The business licensing reimagined, we're trying to enhance that program. Essentially, what it used to be is you pay your money, you get your license, you sign your name, and then that's it. We're trying to make that part of a bigger process where the knowledge of these businesses being in town and their resources and what they do and what they're willing to do for the community is available to the city to be able to disseminate. Try to make it into a program where if you're a business in Warrenville, you're more part of the community because we know what you're doing and we know what you're willing to give to the community, how you might help other businesses, all that sort of thing, a kind of a networking thing for the businesses in town. So that's a pretty exciting program also. Yes. We're going to continue that. With the census, when the census goes into effect is June 1st, but there's a period of time we're going to be doing all that census taking before that. And again, we would appreciate the help from the community to make sure that we get the number of people that we know are there counted. Very, very important. There were April 30th to May 23rd. I knew it was on there. The ERP again. This is success, though. This is what we're working on, and it's happening. I can't tell you how happy staff is to finally know that we're getting to a place where what they need is going to be exactly what they get. It's been a long road, but we're getting there. Grants are part of our language. We do that like without even thinking anymore. And again, we can thank staff for that because they're the ones that are in the trenches. They know to look in the right places to find the grants that are available. They know what's needed to apply for those grants, and they make it happen for us. The debt service, again, I already explained. The last department that we kind of haven't reorganized in the last few years is finance. Again, as the community developed and it matured, a lot of what had to be done changed. The way it had to be done changed. More responsibilities were added. Finance department, we're finally in the process of addressing all the changes that need to be there. We're very glad that Kevin is still with us and he's going to help us make that happen. But we're trying to make it so that we can get that more organized so Kevin can do more high-level stuff and the lower-level stuff can be done by staff. But that's going to require reorganization. We're very excited at the possibility. We've done it with our other departments very successfully. And then always we'll go for 31. We've got 30. We're going to have 31 awards. And these things you heard about also, still in progress from last year, in progress this year. That's why they're mentioned again. And maybe some of it will be here next year because things take forever, it seems like, in government, but we don't give up. And the road program we talked about, sewer and water connections, some of the resurfacing, high-speed garage doors. You go, gee, that's really exciting. But have you seen the size of those garage doors? In the wintertime, when there's 4 of them and they open, it virtually opens up the entire building. And the ones that were originally installed are, like this. Now they're going to open and close quicker, and that will save you money because you won't have to pay for that extra heating. So again, that's such a high, exciting thing, but something that's really good to do. More part of making up for the ERP and the other deficiencies that we encountered earlier. We have a mishmash of the audio equipment. I'm really grateful that it's working tonight because our usual experience is staff tests it like 30 seconds before we go on air. We turn it on, it doesn't work. So it'll be nice when that's done, when that's fixed. That will be very much appreciated. Keyless entry system, again, expand that system. It's really nice that you get the card. You've seen that, I'm sure, at hospitals and other places. It just makes sense for staff and elected officials to be able to come and go with that. It's very useful. And public safety will continue to do all of these things. The chief's got a lot of great ideas on how we can implement new programs in the department. We continue to attract the highest level of applicants. I am always impressed when I have to swear in a new officer with their portfolio that they bring to the city of Warrenville. They're either young and excited and well-educated or somewhat experienced and well-educated and excited, but they love coming to Warrenville and they're doing a terrific job. So that's a good thing. The implementation of the rental registration and inspection program is something that's been hanging in the wings for a long time. I would like to see it implemented at some time. I think most of the staff would also. What it does basically is educates landlords as to what's expected from the city. which means you're going to get a higher quality of landlords, and it holds them to certain requirements. That's a very, very good thing. And ultimately, the goal is to upgrade the available spaces to be rented and upgrade your landlords so where you get people where it's not just a milk cow for them, but it's an investment that they're going to protect and they're going to invest in. So it'd be very, very good for the community. I'm excited at the prospect. It unfortunately involves the addition of staff, probably a half-time person. We're very, very careful about that because somewhere around 3/4 of our expenditures go to staff. We recognize how important it is to be careful about hiring people because that nut gets harder to crack every single year. But if you can outweigh that cost with the benefits, then I think you can with this program. We're excited at the prospects for getting to that point. And the same thing for contractor registration. More visibility for who's here and what they're doing and why and who they are, what their records are. All of that helps you make decisions when you're going to do something on your property or something on your house. Allows us to help you. And we did a community survey already, which is available for our strategic plan. We had a career day here, a job shadowing program that was wildly successful this year, where we had some high school students come and they spent the day with different staff members and shadowed them and learned their job. And everybody involved enjoyed it. The staff loved it because, of course, if you do something, you do it well, you like to be able to explain it and tell people. The kids really learned a lot. When I came in after when they were done and I said, "What did you learn today?" I got the most amazing things. Those kids are just, it was a delight. So we're going to try to work with the district and make sure that happens more often and more intensely. Obviously, in communications, really, really important. I think one of the milestones for us as a community is when we got Paula. We wanted for so many years to have a communications coordinator. Little did we realize what a high-quality person we were going to get and how much fun it would be to have. So Paula is the one responsible for getting the word out on social media and every other place, and she does a phenomenal job, and we're very glad to have it. And that's another thing that we're very conscious of the need for that, because as you know, human nature being what it is, if there's no information, people fill it with misinformation, and it usually isn't good stuff. So we like to get the stuff out that is meaningful and is factual before that storm starts, and Paula really helps us do that. We continue to diversify city employment. We want our employees to look like our community in terms of diversification. We think that's very important, that everybody's represented. We had a meeting the other night, and the meeting concluded. It was a committee meeting, I believe, and I think I mentioned this to Christine. I looked around the room, and we had in the room gender equity for the staff and for the elected officials. And I said, isn't that nice? We have the same number of women and men making these decisions and working for the city. That's been a goal of mine for a long time. I think it's very important. And all those people, of course, are there because they're good at what they do, but it's nice to see that we've balanced out and it's not just one gender making all the decisions. We are a recognized autism-friendly community along with Little Friends, which I think is another important thing to say, that we want people to be in Warrenville. We recognize their value. Whoever you are, you're welcome to be here. We're delighted to have Little Friends in town. They started out with a big facility, they now bought another one, so they're going to be here for a long time doing very good work, bringing people from the whole area to get the benefit of what they have to offer. Am I done? Oh yeah, and here's what you get if you plan ahead. See, remember the first one, the cracked up house? That's if you don't plan, and look at the stars and the hearts and everything if you do plan. That was my idea. And there it is, not plan ahead or not, but plan ahead. This is what we do. So again, that's the theme for this year. We're looking back a little bit to look at what we've accomplished, but we're also very, very focused on what we're going to try to accomplish going forward. And it's exciting to be part of that and be part of that team and to have the staff say, yeah, let's go, let's get this done. We have things we need to do. We're going to continue to look at all of these things and say that this is who we want to be. This is what we strive for every single day. Service is, an overused word, I guess, but it's alive and well in Warrenville. I think everyone that I work with is definitely service-oriented. We have a great number of volunteers. We have probably 80 people on commissions, on various commissions. They're all volunteers. I think I have one opening at this point on one commission. Otherwise, all the openings are filled. That's a terrific thing to have all those volunteers, and they do the same thing. And to bring Dwight back again, Vivian, his spirit is here. Onward and upward is the way I want to leave you tonight. We're in a certain place. Our trajectory is very positive. Thank you for being here tonight, and let's go out and make Warrenville a better place. We have one more thing to do before you can go. I'm going to call it Stump the Mayor. I'm going to let you ask any kind of questions you want, and the grand prize is going to go to the first person who asks me a question, and I have to say, hold on, I'll have to get that from staff. Who wants to try? Come on. All right.
What's the age of the oldest truck that Public Works uses?
It's 27 years old. I made that up.
Yeah.
I'm not giving her the satisfaction. Nice try, Kate. We have a microphone going around so you can be heard. Come on, come up with legitimate questions. Comments, legitimate questions. Sheila.
You talked about installing EV. Are you going to change your building and zoning that new construction needs to at least pipe the electricity to be able to add that?
I believe we already do that. Where's Tim?
Required by the state of Illinois.
Yeah.
Yes, legislation.
We do it anyway. We did it before the state. Yeah, of course. Thanks, Patty. Somebody else? Yes. This is one of our commission members, by the way, one of our
Hi,
volunteers.
Harlan Davis. I live in Summer Lakes. I'm not too far from the intersection of Route 59 and Butterfield. And every time it's warm, all night long, we listen to engines revving and people accelerating westbound generally toward the railroad tracks at the Canadian National and eastbound and northbound, and it's loud. I can hear it through my triple pane windows. I'd like to know what can be done to mitigate the fact that so many of these people don't live here. They have illegal mufflers, and they go elsewhere. And I'm not interested in making money or sending a statement, just shooing them away to someplace else. That's
You're
all.
not alone, Harlan.
Oh, okay. And one more transfer.
Wait, let
Yeah,
me address
go.
that. Just two parts of the answer. One, sadly, this seems to be the way people are now. They're less concerned about bothering someone else. This is not unique to that particular intersection. It is widespread in other communities. There is something that can be done. Talk to the chief, give him some times. We can do a targeted patrol, there are some things that the chief can help you with. So we'll do our best to try to do something. But just keep in mind that they just keep coming, and so many of them have no consideration for anyone else. But thanks for bringing that up.
One other point that regarding public transportation, some of you may know I was an airline pilot for a lot of years, and I learned the public transportation systems of 5 cities and 5 continents, which was really, really helpful. The closest we have is the 559 bus, which turns on Ferry Road and heads back south. I asked them to make a stop at Monarch Landing because I knew people there, my mother lived there for a while, that needed public transportation. And by God, they did. They created a stop, and I've seen people standing there waiting for the bus or getting off. I've pondered the idea, but I don't know quite where to go with this. So this is part of the question of asking Pace to move the 559 bus routing up to the grocery store. It's known by 3 different names, so I'm not quite sure what to call
Depends
it.
how long you've been here.
Yeah, right. I'll call it Tom's. And make its turnaround there because it goes down to the train station at Route 59, and I think that would be incredibly useful. It wouldn't get a lot of traction at first, but is there something the city can do with that?
Yes, I see Christina taking notes.
Oh,
See, that's the staff I depend on. Oh,
That's-
I technically turned that to staff, didn't we? Ooh. You win, Harlan.
I don't know. Somebody else is going to come up with something else. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Everybody ready to go home? Well, it's a delight to be here every year. As I said, it's hard to believe it's 19 times already. This is number 19. But it's always the delight to share with you the stuff that's going on in the community. We have our hiccups, as I related with the ERP, but we get up afterwards, we fix them, and we move on, and we're better off for it. And I think that's the key to success in any organization, any family, any institution, is that you take your lumps, you get up, and you do better than you did before. And that's always what we try to do here at the city. We are blessed to be partnered with Park District and School District and Library District and Fire Protection District folks who feel the same way. I think that's another thing that sets us apart from other communities. The taxing districts not only get along, they support each other. And that's fantastic. So kudos to the other districts that are here tonight, and even if they're not here, you're doing a great job. We really appreciate it. And I'm even going to forgive Kate for trying to trip me up early on there. But kudos to everybody. Okay. All right, thanks. You're free to go. You're welcome. Thank you. Sure, you bet.
Thanks.
Hey.
Mr. Mayor, great job.
Thanks. It's all
He's gonna take our picture. He's been a photographer for as long as I have. Yeah, give him, yeah.
right.
We'll do one with
Hey.
you next.
Yeah.